Good morning. This is the second chapter of Economics Class 10th NCERT book, Sectors of Indian Economy. I have divided the sectors of Indian economy in the book. The division has been made into three parts. The very first one is on the basis of economic activities. We will be discussing three type of sectors: primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. Then on the basis of working conditions of the labor, sectors are divided into two parts: organized sector and unorganized sector. Organized sectors are those which follow the labor laws being framed by the government. Unorganized sector doesn't follow these labor laws. Finally, we are going to discuss on the basis of ownership of resources. On the basis of ownership of resources, sectors can be divided into two parts, that is private sector and public sector. In this part of the module, we will be discussing only up to this part on the basis of economic activities, because this one is a lengthy part of the book. Three divisions will be there, that is primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary. So let us start this chapter. On the basis of different kind of economic activities, we have divided the sectors into three, that is primary, secondary and tertiary. That is the first thing which we will be discussing in this module. Then we are going to compare the three sectors, that is the primary, secondary and tertiary. We are going to make a comparison in them. The comparison will be done according to two criteria. First one is the counting of the total production in each sector. This is often termed as GDP of the economy, gross domestic product. If you are going to add all the three, that is going to give you the GDP of the economy, gross domestic product of the country. And then we are going to discuss about historical changes in sectors. In the initial time, the primary sector was the most dominant one, the most important one. Then there was a time period when secondary sector became the most dominant, and nowadays it is the tertiary sector which is the most dominant. That we are going to discuss in historical changes in sectors. Then again we will come back to primary, secondary and tertiary sectors, and we are going to discuss about the tertiary sector's dominance. Because I have already said in historical changes in sector that nowadays tertiary sector is becoming most dominant. So what is the reason behind it? So the very first point which we are going to discuss is rising importance of the tertiary sector in production. Then where are most of the people employed? In particularly we will talking about India, that in India where are most of the people employed, and then we are going to discuss how to create more employment. If we come towards the first part of the chapter, that is sectors of economic activities, we have to discuss the primary sector. But before I can go for the primary sector, let me first go and discuss the economic activities. If you people remember, most probably in class 9th, when we have gone through the second chapter in economics, people as a resource, in that chapter we have discussed about economic activities and non-economic activities. Further, the economic activities was divided into two parts, the market activities and non-market activities. Economic activities are basically those activities which gives you remuneration, which gives you something in return. Economy it itself means the circulation of money. In Hindi we call economy or economics as Arthvyavastha. Earth means the capital, the money. Vyavastha means management. So economics means management of capital. How you earn your money, where you spend this money and various other things. It somewhere moves around money. So economic activities are also those activities which are going to give you something in returns. It can be remuneration in the form of material, like you can be given food for the work you have done. You can be provided with the services for the work you have done. You can be provided with the money for the services you have done, and so on. So every activity which is done for remuneration is termed as economic activity, and those activities which are done for self-satisfaction are termed as non-economic activities. There can be some type of activities according to the time period, it will come in the economic as well as in the non-economic activity. We can have some examples, like right now if I am teaching you people and you are paying for it, then it is an economic activity. If I am teaching you people and you are paying for it, then it is an economic activity. But when I will be teaching the same thing to my own child, What do you think? Whether he is going to pay to me? I don't think so, because he is my child, so he will not pay to me. The same activity will then turn as non-economic activity. When I am teaching you, you are paying for it, then it is economic activity. When I am teaching to my child, because he is not paying back to me in the form of money, then it is non-economic activity. If we have one more example, mother. When our mother does all the works in the home, whether it is cooking, whether it is cleaning the home, whether it is cleaning the clothes, various other things, then these all things are termed as non-economic activities. Because we don't pay to her for these type of activities, it only provides her the satisfaction. But if mother falls ill, or in some houses the mother is a working mother, she does the job outside the home, so we have to hire one person, that is called the servant or maid, to do all these type of work. But now for the same work which was initially done by the mother, now the work is done by servant and we have to pay for that. So earlier when mother was doing all these activities, then it was an non-economic activity. But now when the same work is done by the servant, then it will be termed as economic activity, because we have to pay for that. So according to this economic activity, we have divided the economic activities into three parts. The first one is the primary sector. It provides us the primary goods only. The first one is termed as the primary sector. It provides you the primary goods only. Let us go by the definition of the book. There are many activities that are undertaken by directly using natural resources. So that one is the first characteristic of, this one is going to be the first characteristic of primary activity, that activities that is done directly by using the natural resources. When we produce a good by exploring natural resources, it is an activity of the primary sector. It forms the base for other products that we subsequently make. That is going to be the second characteristic of the primary activity, that it forms the base for all other products. First, let me take the example, then again I will have the discussion. If we take the examples are agriculture, dairy, fishing, forestry, and various others. Mining is also a part of this primary activity, but the most dominating one is the agriculture, because most of the people are engaged in agriculture activity. So let us talk about these examples, whether it is agriculture, whether it is dairy, whether it is fishing, whether it is forestry. All these are primary activities. Now why these are primary activities? First of all, they are based on the natural resources. We are using the natural resources. For agriculture, we are using the land. We are using the fertility of the soil. We are using the climate. According to the climate, the crops are going to vary. In the dairy, we are using the animals. We are providing them the grass from the pasture land. For fishing, we are either using the marine fishing or riverine fishing. In the marine fishing, we are having the oceans from where we are catching the fish, or we can say from the rivers we are catching the fish. Basically, we are using the natural resources. Same way, forestry. We are cutting the forest, we are extracting the materials from the forest. Again, we are using the natural resources. I can take one more example, that is mining. We are extracting the minerals from earth and we are using it. So the thing which is common in all these is the natural resource. We are using the natural resource and we are extracting the thing. But all these things are primary. Now why we say that all these output which is coming from the primary sector is just primary, that is the raw material. Because as a consumer you cannot directly use this particular product. Let me take the example of agriculture. If we are talking about agriculture and we are deriving cotton from agriculture, I don't think we require directly the cotton. We require the shirt, the trouser and various other things. I don't think it will be possible for us to have the cotton directly from the farmer and use that cotton as a cloth. No, it is not possible. The farmer will produce the cotton, then it will be taken by the spinners. They are going to have the thread out of that cotton. Then it will be taken by the weavers who are going to make the cloth out of that cotton. Then Tailor will come who will stitch the cloth, and finally the shirt will be there. And this shirt is of our use. So we are not using directly the products which are derived from primary sector. That's why this one is also termed as primary, or it provides us the raw material. Same way, if we take the example of, let us talk about iron ore. Iron is the base of our life today. Whatever life we are living is somewhere based on iron. But we are not directly using the iron ore. We are using the vehicles made up of iron and steel. We are using the utensils made up of iron and steel. The clothes which we are wearing are made from the machines which are made up of iron and steel. But we are not directly using the iron ore which is extracted from the mines. Mining is the primary sector, and iron ore is the raw material which comes out from the mining. So it is a primary product. So primary sector basically gives us the primary product. This sector is also called agriculture and related sector. We have started making the points. So the first point I have already mentioned. This one was the first point. This one is the second point. So third point can be taken as examples. And fourth point, the alternative name of this sector can be termed as agriculture, because most of the people in our country are based on agriculture. Primary sector contributes about 27.2% in GDP. This one is comparatively less than the tertiary sector. Nowadays the importance of primary sector is becoming less as far as the GDP is concerned. But this one is the most important sector as far as the employment is concerned. It provides us 60.5% of the working population of India continues to be engaged in primary sector of the economy. If you remember the last chapter of class 9 economics, not economics, geography, where we have read about the population, we have discussed about the occupational structure of the country. There we have also discussed the three types of economic activities: primary, secondary and tertiary. And the conclusion over there was a country in which the maximum number of population is based on primary sector, that is always an underdeveloped or developing economy, and a country in which most of the population is based on tertiary sector is a developed economy. Because in our country near about 60.5% population is based on working population of India is based on primary sector, that can be a reason, or that is a reason why our country is a developing economy. So that is primary sector. If I revise the things, this is the sector where the activities are undertaken by directly using natural resources. It is an activity of the primary sector where it is the natural resources are used. Then it provides the base for all other products that we subsequently make. Examples are agriculture, dairy, fishing, forestry and mining. It is also termed as agriculture sector because agriculture is the most dominating activity which is done in this primary sector. It contributes about 27.2% in GDP, and 60.5% of the working population of India continues to be engaged in primary sector of the economy. You can see some of the examples. This one is the animal rearing, or you can say dairy. This one is the mining. This one is the forestry. This one is the agriculture, horticulture, that is the production of fruits and flowers and various other things. All these comes under the primary sector. If we move towards the second part of the sector, on the basis of economic activity, the second sector which we have to discuss is the secondary sector. It covers activities in which natural products are changed into other forms through ways of manufacturing that we associate with industrial activity. So that will give you the first point in the secondary sector. In the primary sector, as we have discussed, only the nature or natural products are derived. Natural products are derived with the use of nature. In the secondary sector, we convert these natural products into the things which can be used by the consumer. Like here it is written, it's changed into other forms through ways of manufacturing that we associate with industrial activity. The product is not produced by nature but has to be made, and therefore some process of manufacturing is essential. So that will give you the second point of secondary sector. That is, it is not produced by nature but has to be made, and therefore some process of manufacturing is essential. Let us take the example of this CERT. In the primary sector, as I have already said, that agriculture is the most dominating part of the primary sector. So cotton is derived from primary sector. We produce cotton through agriculture. So cotton is the primary product, or that will be termed, agriculture will be termed as the primary sector. Now when this cotton is turned into thread, that is by the spinners, then this will be termed as secondary sector. Because thread is not something which we are getting as a natural product. This is something which is made by the human beings. If you will be going according to your book, on the very first page of this chapter, one labor is being shown over there who is making the bricks out of the mud. So you will put this particular photograph in the primary sector or in the secondary sector. Many people will say that this will be the part of the primary sector because the labor is using the mud, that is the soil, and soil is a natural resource. So when you are using the natural resource, then it should be the primary sector, but actually it is the secondary sector. Because in the nature you are getting only the soil, you are not getting the bricks. It is the capability of the human being, or it is the capability of that labor, that he is turning the natural soil into bricks. Bricks are not found naturally. So obviously that will be the part of secondary sector. As we were discussing the example, here we are discussing the CERT. So cotton is the primary product. When the cotton is turned into thread, it will be the secondary sector. If the thread is converted into cloth, again it is the secondary sector. When the cloth is finally converted into CERT, that is also the secondary sector. If I can take one more example, that is of, let us take this as sugar. Sugar is derived from sugar cane, and sugar cane is the part of primary sector. That is the natural product which we are getting. Agriculture is the part of primary sector, and from agriculture we are deriving the sugar cane. But sugar is not a part of primary sector, because naturally we cannot find sugar. We have to convert the sugar cane into sugar with the use of industries. So sugar will be example of the secondary sector. On the other hand, sugar cane is the example of primary sector. Same way, here you can see this chair that is made up of wood. So when we are deriving wood from the forest, it is the part of primary sector. But when this wood is converted into furniture, that is a secondary sector. Because again it is very simple. We cannot have chair or furniture directly from nature. From nature we are going to have only wood. Then it will be the human ability which will convert this wood into the chair or whatever type of furniture you want. So this one will be termed as secondary activity. This sector gradually became associated with different kind of industries that came up. It is also called industrial sector. So that will give you the third point. Primary sector was known as the agriculture sector. The secondary sector is often termed as industrial sector. Secondary sector contribute about 23.7% in GDP. That is, we are talking about our country. In our country, the secondary sector is contributing about 23.7%, and 16.8% of the working population continues to be engaged in secondary sector. Well, any one of you, if there is any answer, why only 16.8% of the working population is a part of the secondary sector? First of all, secondary sector, most of the work is done by the machines, and wherever you are using the machines, that will reduce the employment opportunity. Most of the work will be done by the machines, and obviously that is going to reduce the employment. And second thing, if you want to work on the machines, you must be skilled. You must know how to use the machines. And in our country, one of the most negative factor which is related with our population is lack of skill. That's why most of the population is based on agriculture, which doesn't require any type of skill. But if we are talking about secondary sector, only 16.8% of the working population is based on Secondary sector, I have given you two reasons. First, this one is an industrial sector. Most of the work is done by the machines. And second thing, machines require skilled labor which we lack in our country. So that is the second part of the sectors on the basis of economic activity, that was secondary sector. If we move towards the next one, that is tertiary sector. Education is a part of tertiary sector. If I take a very simple definition, generally I use this definition in my class and I say tertiary sector is a sector where there is no production, even then you have to pay for the work. Right now I am teaching you something. Your teacher teaches you in class. When you are going back to your home, can anyone show to their parents that this is the thing which we were taught today? You can show them the book, you can show them the copy, but the lesson which was given to you, I don't think anyone of us can show it to parents. But even then we have to pay fees to the school. The school pays salary to the teacher. You can say that okay, a school is taking the fees because they are providing other services also. They are providing us with electricity, they are providing us with the rooms, they are providing us with the playground, they are providing us the furniture and various other things. But the most important part of your fees, or the most dominating part of your fees, goes as the salary of the teachers. And whatever work the teacher is going to do, that you cannot show to anyone. If you are talking about the book, you are talking about the copy, you have to buy it from the shops. You have to pay separately for it. That is not a part of your fees. So this is called tertiary sector, where the production is there, but it does not shows up. You cannot show it to anyone. For example, here you are seeing the truck. Okay, let me take one example. If I am a shirt producer and I produce 100 shirts and load it into a truck, the person who bought the shirts from me has given me 50 rupees per shirt, though the amount is very less, but because we are taking the example. So the person who has bought the shirt from me has paid me 50 rupees per shirt and has taken 100 shirts from me. So he loaded these shirts on his truck and went to the other city. Do you think this person is going to sell the shirt in the same 50 rupees? I don't think so. Definitely the person will sell the shirt in 60, 70 or something like that. So where is the production? We loaded 100 shirts in the truck, and when this truck will reach to your city or to the city from which that businessman belongs, it will be the same 100 shirts. There will be no change in the figure. There will be no change in the quantity. That will remain the same, that is 100 shirts. Then why there will be a change in the prices? Because the transportation cost is there. When the truck will move from my city to your city or to the city to which that businessman belongs, the truck will be consuming some petrol, diesel, something like that. There will be some depreciation in the tire of the truck that will be used and various other things. You have to pay for the driver, and the last thing is that businessman is also going to earn some profit. So the transportation or that businessman, this type of activities is the part of tertiary sector, where you cannot show the production to anyone, but definitely the prices will rise. Let us see what the book says. These are activities that help in the development of the primary and secondary sectors. Obviously, secondary sector uses the raw material which comes from the primary. So the tertiary sector, for example, transportation, takes the raw material from primary to the secondary sector. The transportation takes the raw material from primary sector to the secondary sector. Now for extracting the minerals, the primary sector requires various type of machines, and these machines are produced by the secondary sector. So these machines which are produced by the secondary sector moves to the primary sector. So they are interdependent, and this interdependency is being developed by the tertiary sector. Tertiary sector do not produce a good, but they support in production process. For example, banks. Banks are the part of tertiary sector. There is no production in the banks. But even then, if you are taking a loan from the bank, you have to pay the interest. When there is no production in the bank, why you are paying the interest? Because it is the tertiary sector. Since these activities generate services rather than goods, the tertiary sector is also called the service sector. Here mostly the service is provided to the people, and you cannot show this service to anyone, but you have to pay to the person. Let me again take an example. If you are moving to a doctor, whatever is your complaint, like you are suffering from cough, so you went to the doctor and has taken the advice from the doctor, and you have to pay rupees 50, 30, 70, 100, whatever it is, as the consultancy fees. Now what the doctor has done? Doctor has just given you a prescription. You will take this prescription to some medicine shop and you will buy the medicine from there. You will have to pay separately for the medicine. Once you will have to pay to the doctor, and then second you will have to pay to the medicine shop. So why you are paying it to the doctor? What was the production over there? You are paying for the services which was provided by the doctor. That is the part of tertiary sector. In this sector, services may be classified into two groups. Especially if you talk about the country like India, many of the people are engaged in service sector. Service sector is one place in which you can generate much income. But not all the people are, it is not possible for all the people to generate much income from the service sector. Like you would have seen many of the thela wallahs who sell vegetables and other things in the streets of your town, city. These people are also the part of service sector, but they don't generate much income. They are busy throughout the day, but they are not generating much income. On the other hand, teachers, doctors, lawyers, they are sitting in AC room, they are having good things, they are enjoying the life, but they are earning good money also. Especially if you compare the life of a thela wala and a doctor, obviously you will see the difference. The doctor is earning much more than that thela wala, though both are engaged in service sector. According to this, let us divide the service sector into two parts. The first one is commercial services. It includes banking, insurance, packing, advertising, communications, transport, railways, internet cafe, ATM, call centers, etc. This one is for the complete economy. Because of these things, the economy runs. On the other hand, there are some personal services. For example, it includes teaching, nursing, police, medical, entertainment, barber, cobblers and lawyers, etc. So service sector is also divided into two parts. The first one is commercial services and the second one is personal service. Now let us come towards the contribution of the tertiary sector. That is, the contribution of tertiary sector to GDP is 49.1%. Especially after globalization, this sector is playing the most dominant role in the GDP. But it is contributing only 22.7% of the working population. It is in the employment generation, it is contributing only 22.7%. So why it is contributing much in GDP, though it is contributing very less in the working population? That we will discuss in the next part of the module. In this part, we have divided, in this module, we have divided the economic activities on the basis of economic activities. We have divided the sectors of Indian economy on the basis of economic activities. That is three types: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. And we have discussed what are these primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. In the next module, we will be discussing the contribution of tertiary sector in Indian economy. Thank you.